Hey everybody, it's Hans here with Angler's Covey, and welcome back to our Bug of the Month tying series. Today I'm going to teach you how to tie a midge pattern. It's winter. Midges are going to be the main source of food on the menu right now. Now I know there are a lot of midges, or a lot of midge patterns that are very similar. The one I'm going to teach you today is called the LED Midge. It's a super unique midge pattern, and it's a little something different for your box, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we've got a 2488 hook in the vise here. We're using 70 denier uni thread. We're going to go ahead and just get that started on the hook shank. Trim off our tag. The next material we're going to use is macrame yarn, Bonnie cord. This is also the same stuff that's used for Dorsey indicator. Okay, you can see here at the end, you can break it up into individual strands. We're going to use one of these strands. Cut it off, and then we're going to attach this to the hook shank, and we want this to sit perpendicular to the shank of the hook. So first I'm just going to come up here and grab it with 2 wraps of thread. Okay, and then I'm going to twist this, so I'm going to pull this side that's facing back towards the camera, towards you, and the forward side towards me to get it perpendicular to the hook shank here. Okay, and then we'll take some thread wraps up in the front side of me and the rear side of the far side. 2 wraps there, and that's going to hold that perpendicular to the shank of the hook, as you see. Okay, then we're going to come in front, do a little wrap, and a little wrap in back, and that's good right there. Now we're going to use this invisible ink UV marker on that yarn. You can get these on Amazon as well as craft stores, and we're just going to hit that material right by the shank of the hook. Okay, now this stuff is flammable, so ultimately what we're going to end up doing is we're going to cut this and then singe it into little balls. I don't want to hit it with the flame right now because the flame will basically melt the whole thing into a ball. So I want to kind of let that UV pin ink dry, if you will. So we're going to grab all of those, pull upwards. We want to trim both of these at the same time, about the length of the gap of the hook. Okay. So you can see there, we've got these 2 little wing things. We're going to end up burning those with a lighter, but we're going to go ahead and let that UV ink dry first. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is get some widow's web. Now this is a substitute material. The original pattern uses Bonnie cord or this macrame yarn in different colors, but I don't have any of that, and I've found that the widow's web is a very similar type of material. So we're going to use brown widow's web as well as some midge-sized root beer crystal flash for this next section here. So we want to get maybe 20 strands of the widow's web, cut it off the hank, and then we're going to get 2 strands of the root beer midge-sized crystal flash and cut that off the hank. Okay, now hopefully we've gotten enough time for that UV pin to dry. We're going to go ahead and try to do the singe of these parts now. Okay, so the trick is real quick touch with the lighter and then get the lighter away. We don't want to actually light it on fire. Okay, and then we'll hit this far side. Okay, and you see what we've done here is form these 2 little balls. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, now we'll go to the crystal flash and the widow's web. I've just married them together here, so you can see I've got the crystal flash and the widow's web touching. We're going to grab that right behind the 2 little bulbs that we created with just a couple wraps. So we got about 3 wraps on that. And then we're going to jump in front grab them in front of the bulbs, and then get back behind the eyes there. Now we're going to split up the widow's web so that we have, about 5 strands going one way, and you don't have to really count this, and maybe 15 the other way, and then we're going to start wrapping this back down the shank of the hook. So we want to keep the crystal flash and the 5 strands of widow web pointing rearward. Then we're going to start wrapping the excess, the 15 strands of widow web, to keep that stuff pointing backwards here. We'll get down to about the bend, and then we'll work back forward. Once we get right behind the eyes here, go ahead and grab the widow's web with our thread. And we can trim that off. Nice and close. And now we're going to take one of the strands of the crystal flash. We're going to wrap that up the hook shank to give it some segmentation. There we go. With 4 or 5 wraps here. Come up. And we're going to grab that with our thread. And then we're going to actually jump our thread in front of those eyes. Grab everything. And then jump back behind the eyes. And we will fold all of this stuff facing forward, rearward. Okay, now first we're going to go with the widow's web. Fold back, grab it with a wrap, hit it with one more wrap. We're going to cut that off nice and close. Okay, and then we're going to jump forward, do another X wrap. We're trying to keep it kind of dark between those little balls there. And pull all of this crystal flash back with a wrap. And then again, we'll do another X wrap. So we got that crystal flash laying back there. Now, we're going to whip finish right behind the eye of the hook. We can trim off the thread now. We're going to trim these crystal flash pieces coming off the top here, about halfway down the body. And then we're going to trim everything hanging off the rear of the hook to be a little less than the length of the shank of the hook. Right there. And that is the LED Midge. So that's the LED Midge by Kevan Davidson. It's a super cool and unique midge pattern. It's just different. It gives the fish a little something different to look at. You can tie it up in all sorts of different colors. I would stick to sizes 20s, 22s, 24s if you're feeling brave. But yeah, I tie some up, put them in your box, and give them a go. I think you'll like how they work.